Cargill tends to talk about the opportunities that come along with the different influencers in the market. We like to engage and listen and also define clear actions with all the different stakeholders in the palm supply chain. It's not easy, on the contrary, I would say, because different stakeholders come with different expectations, also different timelines that we also spoke about already in the morning session. But then again, as Cargill, we truly want to engage with all the different stakeholders in the supply chain. At the same time, and it doesn't come well across on the slide, I have to say, Cargill is committed to RSPO. We believe that that is the global standard that is leading today. So we will follow the expectations that are set by RSPO when we talk about sustainability and sustainable palm oil. At the same time, and I will talk about that as well, we are also engaged to work directly with smallholders and build a program together with smallholders.
As you may understand, certification requires a lot of documentation, something that is really not super obvious for smallholders to comply with. And also it requires some access to technology, agricultural input and stuff. And also it requires land titles. So on one hand, it's quite difficult to obtain. On the other hand, actually, there are benefits of introducing better practices. We've seen yields go up with plantation introducing better practices. But these benefits usually materialize a little bit in the long run. So it takes 1, 2, maybe 3 years before they actually, the good practices have a result.
We have 3 learning points that have made our model a success. The first one I want to leave you with is creating shared value. So we cannot do this alone. Smallholder projects require us to build on the existing relationships that are already on the ground, because one person cannot support a smallholder initiative forever and ever. It can't be like a funded project. Our second learning point that I like to bring up is we have to understand what is the true benefit to the farmer. The farmer sitting in a village somewhere in Borneo is not going to say certification is the most important thing for me. What he really wants is good technical advisory support. That is what he wants to see. How can he improve his yields? How can he improve his income? How can he get a better transparent deal for himself? And thirdly is the management system. With smallholders, what we are certifying is not the farmer per se, but the whole management system. So we need a very good, robust management system that can manage data in the hundreds and thousands of farmers. And that is the one way that we are aiming to keep our overhead costs low as we scale up our project.
Now, GreenPalm removes that supply chain and links the RSPO-certified mill directly to the end product manufacturer. Now, we do this through a web-based trading platform, and what we do, the certified grower converts their sustainable production into the currency that is GreenPalm certificates, and these are traded on the web-based platform. So the certificate goes from the grower to the end product manufacturer. The producer, he receives the full value of the certificate, and then in the real world, he then sells his physical oil into his local market, into his export market, or wherever he likes, and he sells it as conventionally produced oil at mainstream price.
But if you compare the situation, and Bob gave already some indication, between palm oil and palm kernel oil, there are, I would say, 2 so-called black boxes. The first black box is the crusher. And just to give you some information, in Malaysia alone, there are around 500 palm mills, which are normally very close to the estates, where there are only 50 crusher. And that tells you that, for example, there's a lot of transportation mixing. That means keeping the identity of palm kernel oil is much more difficult than keeping the identity of palm oil. The second black box, or I would say area of complexity, is more or less the manufacturing side over the derivatives of the surfactants, because, as we said before, coconut oil and palm kernel oil can be mixed. And sometimes even for our suppliers, the manufacturer of the surfactants, it is rather difficult to understand, for example, what is going in stream and to trace all these efforts back.
My supplier is certified, so I don't have to be. If I had £1 for every time I heard this, I would have come here It's certainly not economy class, put it that way. I think if we think about this, we can understand that this can't be right. Because if everyone took that attitude, no one would be certified. And we need to ensure that what you're passing on to your customer is actually what you're saying it is. So your supplier has gone to the time, the trouble and the effort of getting certified, so it's time you did the same. And I'll do it next year. We've heard a lot about 2015, and we're now frighteningly in September in 2013. 2015 is just around the corner. If you leave this to next year, you have two major issues. One, you won't have time, and two, you won't have the material, because your competitors will be buying it or will be in biofuels, and you won't be able to get it for your own products. So next year is too late.